This is the Sports Lounge. Welcome to the home of the Sports Lounge.
Welcome to our YouTube channel.
Welcome to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
So click on the subscribe button and let's stay updated with all the happenings, all the interesting conversations in the world of sports.
Good morning, great people of Nigeria and also the great people of Lagos. And once again, it's another week or weekend. We have a very long weekend, first off. A very long and enjoyable weekend. But to usher you into this weekend of bliss with us here at the Sports Lounge. And with me, I have two old cargoes. Well, I'm sorry to say, but you'll soon know why I'm calling them old cargoes. To my right, I have my resident pastor.
Bless you.
Pastor Tommy, how are you doing, sir? What blessings do you have for us this morning?
I'm so glad. I'm so happy.
What is giving you this joy, sir?
I'm on leave.
Rest of mind.
I've slept. I've made music. I've enjoyed my life.
So you're here to give us the anointing.
Yes, it's going to flow.
I love this. I love this. And while I have a pastor on my right, I have a deity on my left. To my left, I have the thunder god. You can call him Shango. You can call him Amadioha. You can call him Thor. Whichever one you want to. How are you doing today, sir?
Yeah, don't kill me, I beg. But I have descended from the mountains. Come and share some knowledge with you guys today.
And so today we are going to really be having a lot of fun from football and basketball all the way to the world of F1. And then to start it off, we saw some fights, UFC style, this international break. We'll first start with Argentina versus Brazil. Guys, please, what happened?
I don't know when it became. I don't know, in South American games normally, when you watch it, there's already enough feistiness. They always want to fight, they always want to break each other's legs and all of these things. So I don't know what possessed Rafinha to do an interview and then say, yeah, we're going to beat Argentina, I hate them, F them, and all of this. I'm like, these guys are one of the best teams out of the past 6 years. They've been very consistent. They've been very locked in at the back. They've won Copa America, they won World Cup back to back. And Brazil, you've not really done anything. You're missing several key star players. So what gives you the F1 tree to come out and say that? Yeah, it's a rivalry and everything, but I mean, if you guys are not on it like that, why would you come and do that? And they got their Egba. Like people will say, they collected King. So, yeah, serves them right. And they sacked their coach. So, I mean, terrible events. I mean,
so Tommy, do you agree? Like they didn't have any rights whatsoever to come out and talk? Come on, this is the hottest rivalry in South America.
So for me, if you are going to talk, then walk. You can't talk and not back it up. For Rafinha, as Ela was saying, I think how do you say it again? Is it evil communication corrupts good manners? Mm-hmm. He's been spending too much time with Vinicius Junior. To be honest, like there was no need. So, or they felt there was no Messi. Since Messi wasn't playing, maybe they could. So psychologically, they could get one over them quickly. Or it was like, because everybody knows Rafinha is my poster boy for Ballon d'Or. This is like he's my. I was so seeing before the game, hearing him say that, I knew. Nah.
So you've anointed Rafinha for Ballon d'Or. Is that it?
Well,
not the only Ballon d'Or. What's his number? Don't use Ballon d'Or.
It's just
and that Vini this thing, I don't even want to understand, because the game before the Argentina game, they put a clip out on X and they were like, oh, this guy is one of the leaders in Brazil. He stopped Vinicius from getting a yellow card and all of that. So there's been a lot of goodwill towards Rafinha. So and credit to him, he handled himself well when those Argentina players were around him. He could have reacted differently and he could have gone left, but he handled himself pretty well. But at the end of the day, man, if you can't back it up, you guys are not like that. Just keep quiet.
Yeah. And then moving from that one, we saw another Basbos fight. Adagula, that small boy that I think Breeze can blow him, versus Szoboszlai. Who do you actually think is in the right here, Tom?
Szoboszlai is a nonsense egbo. Is a nonsense egbo because he did not see. For Christ's sake, there are things that you don't. It's like the Louis Kelly celebration we're talking about the other time. There are things you don't need to. There's no point in Szoboszlai coming back to you have lost, you have lost. He has shushed you, he has shushed you. Next time, wait till you play him again, then deal with him properly. Then now shush him back. But you are coming back at somebody that might win Champions League. Or someone that's probably in the best club. Like what is Szoboszlai's point? Like they're not even competitors. They are far away. Like they are far away from each other. Like you just look at normally stuff like that. You just as a senior player or a more senior player, you laugh about it to the boy and be like, grow up or something. The young is going to quote his number of minutes. If he wins the league and Champions League, will you use the number of minutes to delete his trophies?
But taking it from there. To his point, Adagula barely even plays. So what's F1’3? What mouth does he actually have?
There was actually a graphic of statistics like everyone likes to use in terms of effectiveness this season. Even with Guler's 1,088 minutes, it's been more effective than Szoboszlai, which is over 2,000. So and the guy is just coming off. He's coming off a.
Szoboszlai just they make noise.
Yeah,
just
coming
they
off
play,
a
they
game
make noise. Nothing
where
happen.
You lost 6-1 on aggregate. They beat you in Carling Cup final. They've dumped you out of Champions League, and they are coming to talk to a kid, 19 years old, a teenager that has won league and Champions League in Madrid. He's on course to probably win another one, like Tommy has said. And then you're now telling him 1,000. And the funniest thing is, the day before, when they were going back and forth on Instagram, was this guy's wedding. Szoboszlai's wedding. So you were fighting with a teenager on Instagram for your wedding night. Where you're supposed to be chilling with your guys. I'm like, come on now. And I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. You should forget.
Just cruise it. Just cruise it and move on.
So on this note of things that you should just kind of forget, do you think LeBron James did actually not need to respond to Stephen A and all of Stephen A's banter and all of Stephen A's comments? Since you guys are saying there are some things as senior a born where you be, you go just, fashy or you go just overlook. Do you actually think like LeBron should have fashied it? Yes, you.
No, he shouldn't have fashied it. And the reason why I say he shouldn't have fashied it is for 20 plus years, this guy has been playing basketball at the highest level, has not done anything wrong. LeBron is one of the best trained media athletes when it comes to handling the media. He doesn't go out of turn. So everything he does is calculated. But at this point where we have reached unprecedented levels, my son is now in the NBA, and you call me out as a father. You don't know, are we guys like that? Like, normally when people are bantering around each other, say, oh, your papa, that kind of thing. And someone you don't know like that comes and tells you like, are you okay? And I clear you like, bro, you can talk about basketball, you can criticize, you can say whatever, but don't come to me and say, as a father, we are not cool like that. So I'm actually happy that he cleared him.
So should he have actually taken, because it feels like there's been a lot of back and forth, should he have actually confronted him the way he confronted him during that game?
Yes. Also, and
then the following comments as well.
Yes, because Stephen A has been on air for over 20 years as well, saying, if you don't like what I say, come to the game. I come to the games, come at me. Let's talk and all of that. I'm coming at you and now telling me that's weak. If you had done this, I'll have swung on you. I'm like, what's not the point, bro? You're
swung
like,
on 6'9", 250 pounds.
You're like 50 plus. You're like 50+ year old man with your receding hairline. What are you going to do? Like, just let it go.
He just needs some power from Thor.
No,
his time
has gone. Time has gone.
Do you agree with this, or do you think like LeBron, there are certain things like LeBron probably didn't do so well?
So in as much as I want to agree, I just think that LeBron is setting up his son to fail. In the long run, everything he's doing is setting up the boy to fail. He's gathering haters for the boy for no reason. He's adding unnecessary spotlight to the boy for no reason. Because if he didn't reply him, the gist would have passed and nobody would be talking about the boy. Now, even the good stats of the boy, being one of the top scorers in G League and all and stuff, nobody's talking about that. People are talking about his father fighting a broadcaster for him. He doesn't need the boy. So now it's not even. I'm not speaking from a LeBron perspective. I'm speaking from Bronny's perspective. The boy doesn't need all this. To be honest, I didn't like the fact that he went to the Lakers. I didn't like the fact that he entered the league when his father was still playing. The fact that he was drafted at a very funny position into the same team his father. Like it's like as if LeBron is all about himself. Even speaking to Stephen A. When he was coming out and on, it looked like a media show for himself. I am LeBron, a show off. in how much I love LeBron here, and everybody knows I really love LeBron. I just think there are things you do not need.
So he didn't need to attract the
Especially
extra media.
because of the son involved. Like, it is the future of the boy we're talking about. Let's not kid ourselves. That boy could clock 24, 25 and decide that doesn't want to play basketball anymore. But at least let him enjoy the league as a professional player, not as the son of a professional player. So if they are going to attack him, he's a man. He's not a kid. He's actually a man. Let me stop calling him a kid because he's not a minor. Let him stand up as a man for himself. Yes, you can. There's the compassionate part of my dad and whatnot. But which dad was standing up for LeBron 20 years ago? There was no dad now. So let the boy be a man and cut it out. There's no yes, I'm happy he replied once and just he's not doing like Stephen A and replying a lot of times. But I'm afraid that he might reply again and then it turns into an S show. Let me not use the vulgar word.
On this, some people are even saying that LeBron at this moment is distracted based on the Chicago Bulls game and how he felt like they gave up a 9-point lead in under 12 seconds. Do you actually think like he's being distracted? Like people are saying he's not focusing on what he needs to focus on at the moment.
No, I don't. So in terms of what people are saying, and first of all, I disagree with everything Tommy has said. That's vehemently. And in terms of what the question you're asking, LeBron is not distracted. These kind of games, they happen. You make a bad move, a turnover, it happens. LeBron makes turnovers around this time, historically, around February, March. He goes on this kind of haywire runs. There's a pattern.
Something.
He's coming off a groin injury. So it will take, and this is like, third game back. So yeah, it will take if you have like 9 games left in the NBA. So it will take a while. And after the Lakers' priority right now is to just not go into the play-in. If they can avoid that, they will be okay.
Do you think they can avoid it though?
Yeah,
because they have like
can.
the second strongest schedule.
Right now, they'll get past it because it's not that they are facing Grizzlies later today, and they have some other games that they are very winnable games. And if the Lakers can just turn it on, most of those games that they lost, this Chicago Bulls game the first time, the game that they went to the half wire with Pacers,
yeah.
and these other games, they're all winnable games, and they were all in the lead. So all you just need make better decisions with the ball, and they are good. So let me just circle back quickly to this point. Right?
you need to address the issue.
Bronny is a player that, even before he started playing basketball in the NBA and from high school, he's been getting haters. If you've ever watched any of their, these ball highlights games from State Farm and all these other games, always gets haters. Been heckled from even before LeBron started talking about him in that light. So whatever he was going to do, any team was going to go, he was always going to get that spotlight of, you are LeBron's son, you suck, you are not as good, blah, blah, blah. But looking at it this way, what father won't, if you ask any father in the world right now, oh, what's your son into? Oh, my son is into maybe playing chess or he's into football. Do you think he's good at it? Oh, he's the best at it. He's going to be this. Everybody's going to talk up their son.
Yeah.
That's literally what a good father would do.
Yeah.
And if you come after my son, I'm going to come after you. Like, this is not even the first time LeBron has gone after someone in the media for coming after his son. Lavabo, when he was talking about Lonzo and his son and everything like that, he was talking about how he's going to be better than LeBron's son. And LeBron said, keep my son's name out of your mouth.
Yep.
You can talk about your son, promote, but don't bring my own child into this. It has nothing to do with you. And that's
so he's just showing his fatherly instinct.
Yeah, he's a father. The reason why people are seeing like because they've never had a father-son duo play in the NBA at the same time. So this is literally what a father would do to his son.
Okay. On that note, so would you agree, at least you would agree that LeBron kind of lost them the game to the Chicago Bulls?
Yeah, definitely. That was his fault.
With that in mind, why was Perkins still attacking Doncic for his defense?
So the reason why Peck is weird, and he has a very weird. He's not media trained well enough. And I was saying this off before we came on that Peck and Shannon Sharp are pretty much a similar people in the
Shannon
media.
is
but the reason exactly if you watch Shannon when he first came into Skip and Shannon Undisputed, very similar. But what Shannon did was that, okay, I want to be in this for the long haul. I want to have my own company. I want to have this. Let me train myself. Let me read up on, because Shannon is an NFL guy. He doesn't know too much about the NBA.
Yeah.
But he has gone and studied
the NBA
to learn about, okay, let me actually get on this and see.
But Mike is the NBA guy, so he should know these things.
He should. You would think so. But not everybody's IQ is good like that. Like some people will say, no, everybody will go school, learn book. At the end of the day, if you go to you went to the NBA, you played around some of the best players. Imagine Peck has played with Rajon Rondo, he has played with KG, he has played with Paul Pierce, he has played with LeBron, he has played with KD, he has played with Ross and James Harden. But at the same time, look at how he relates with these guys. They don't most people don't respect him. Some people just tell him that guy, you overestimate yourself. And to Doncic thing, right? He's had an issue with Doncic for a long time. He's always talk about Doncic's defense, bad and all of that. But when you are a great NBA player, you isolate what you are good at and try to replicate it to the betterment of the team. Most teams will hide you on offense. This particular game just happens to be that the Lakers lost the plot in the final few minutes. If they won that game, the game that they won against the Pacers that LeBron tipped it in, it was pretty much a similar defense. But nobody talked about it because they won the game. That's just how NBA is.
So let me come to your side and I'll bring out some figures. So since Doncic has moved to the Lakers, he's been the most blown by player. Like everybody just seems to be able to beat him on when he's on defense. Aside from that, their recent like 3 or 4 games, like they've had like the worst defense or one of the worst defensive record in the league. So do you attribute this to just Doncic or is it a team thing?
So for defending, I always feel your system is more important than an individual. Except you have, as Bamji said, I love using the word unicorns. So you have some humans that are the claw. You have some people that are one-man defense, which is fine. But generally, you build a system of defense. I was saying something on the group chat about Doncic. Someone thought I was trying to support him. Firstly, he's a big point guard, but he's white. Whites are not as athletic as blacks naturally. This is not it's not a race thing. It's just natural biology. It's not blacks are naturally more athletic. Whites are naturally more technical. We can argue this off air whenever, but I know
This is the Sports Lounge.
welcome to the home of the Sports Lounge.
Welcome to our YouTube channel. Welcome to our YouTube channel.
Don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. So click on the subscribe button and let's stay updated with all the happenings, all the interesting conversations in the world of sports.
I don't know how it works, but yeah, that's a normal thing that we all know. So a big point guard who is fat in quotes and is not really athletic, I'm not shocked he's been I'm not shocked. And as Aniola said, you cover up your players' flaws. I'll relate to my best sport, football. Alexander-Arnold is a terrible defender, but Liverpool had Fabinho and Henderson defending for him because they knew that he had a really good whip. Right now, you have Konate always going to help him, but you know he has a weapon that you need to use. The most important thing in sports is to score, especially ball sports, is to score. They can score you back, just make sure you outscore your opponents. That's literally, so if you have an offensive threat as good as Doncic is, you find ways to manage the situation. I think Perkins is taking it too far. There's no point in repeating. He's been defending like that. Also, people need to put it in mind that this guy's been playing men's basketball since he was 16. He's not an American that got into college and moved into NBA at 18. He has been playing with men. 15, sorry, since he was 15. So it's different. Also, I accept that he might need to condition his body better, which is true. Maybe Jokic lost weight. I mean, he might need to lose weight and stuff. But to be honest, you should give him a break now. He also moved to a new team. Like, there's a lot. Calm down. Like, I don't think we expect the Lakers to win now immediately with him this season. But I know next season no more. I expect it.
Do you agree with this assessment as well?
So do you see when I always mention that NBA and narratives, when they traded Doncic to the Lakers, do you remember everything that was said? How about how,
conditioning was fat, it was big, yeah.
This. Now remember what they said about the Lakers. First of all, let's even go back. Let's teleport back in time. First, when the season first started, JJ is his first year head coach. We don't expect too much. Just get to the playing, go to the playoffs. Yeah. AD got traded. Oh, your defense is going to suck. You don't have defense. And then Lakers ripped off a 19-2 record in that period without AD, with Doncic playing really well, LeBron playing off the ball. Oh, OMG, Lakers second best team in the West. They are going to win. They are showing for the championship. You are going to have LeBron and Luka on the same court. Best player against is narratives. Now they've gone 4 shaky games. Now you're saying, Doncic is bad.
So they've lost 8 out of their last 12 games.
Basically, it swings. Again, I mean, now shifts in a different direction. Let's look at the Rockets. Rockets went on their dip slide.
Yep.
They went back to now. Rockets have won 9 out of the last 11 games. Nobody's talking about it.
True.
But they are quietly improving. The NBA, people need to understand that NBA media, and this is what people complain about. They run on narratives. They create different narratives and blow up this small thing to make it look really big. But when you look at it with a microscope, you see that you guys are really overreacting.
So following up on this narrative gist, do you think Nigeria has a specific narrative when it comes to cup competitions and how we need to start, getting our calculators, checking the numbers and all? What do you think?
So this might be a long thread from my mouth because firstly,
let it out, Pastor. Let it out.
So firstly, I think Eric Chelle is a wonderful coach. I think he picked the best squad according to what he wants to play. I also think in the 2 games, they nearly almost executed perfectly. First game was brilliant. Second game, people need to tell themselves the truth. Yeah, because I see some people now talking about is a Malian, blah, 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 and whatnot. People need to tell themselves the truth. When last did we see Nigeria play with that much patterns in football for a very long time? We've not seen it, if we're being truthful. Even the game that we drew, that people were complaining about, we saw proper patterns of attack. Even the goal Osimhen scored to Tolu, from Tolu to what was the fullback or what was the winger, the cross to Osimhen. It's been long we saw Nigeria play pattern football. It was just unfortunate that we squandered chances in that second game. And before they took this man, we knew that the hopes of going to that World Cup was extremely slim. We had 3 draws and 1 loss in 4 games. So why are we now? And he's the 3rd coach in the same qualifying series. The first coach drew 2. The second coach drew 1 and lost 1. He won 1 and drew 1. So I don't know why we are being. And I look at the standings. My only fear is, now this might be controversial. My only fear is 1, the CAF president is South African. 2, South Africa currently tops our group. 3, 2 of the teams in our group play their home games in South Africa. 4, South Africa is supposed to be docked 3 points for fielding. Nigeria was docked 3 points in 2018 when we fielded Shehu Abdullahi against Algeria. We're just lucky that we had qualified. That was the time we played Cameroon and Algeria in our group, that 4-0. If not, we wouldn't have gone to that World Cup. All of a sudden, I'm here in Lesotho. One of the teams that plays their home games in South Africa has withdrawn their application for docking of the 3 points. So we are not only facing, we are facing, in one of our qualifiers, there was a clear goal we scored from a throw-in and it was called offside. I don't know when offside. I think it was away to the same Zimbabwe. Was it away to Zimbabwe? I think it was away to Zimbabwe.
You're saying a lot of heavy things.
So there's a lot in that group. Unfortunately, we cannot, from the other groups, we cannot finish in the second position that will take us to the playoffs. So we need to go to South Africa to beat South Africa. I think we need to go to South Africa to beat Lesotho also. Let's just focus on winning.
Should I still bring out my calculator or I should just burn the calculator?
You know, there's one calculator, Texas Instrument. That's to plot graph. If you want to see this one, that's the calculator you use.
Okay.
Because this one is too much.
I get you. But so moving from Chelle to another man who kind of made his debut, Thomas Tuchel. See, can you see? Chelle. So we are in line here. Thank you, my man of God. So he's very much in the spirit today. So what do you think about Tuchel and England and their games?
I think they did pretty well for what he wants to do with the England squad. I'm very surprised he didn't do 3-5-2. Very surprised. He started off with the 4-4. Trying to adapt to what he currently has. I feel like at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, he will revert back to his usual 3-5-2 and push it forward. But for what the English media are not going to take it easy on him. When Southgate was in charge, it was, oh, you know what, we're doing pretty well, we are all right, we got to the final, we got to the semi-final, we over. But now you must win the World Cup, you must win the World. So That's his benchmark, unfortunately for him. And
So-
he's going to get ripped to shreds if he doesn't do that.
So you're thinking that he doesn't have the same umbrella like a Southgate has. Do you agree with him?
So
The English are naturally hostile to anyone that's not English.
Okay.
oh, that's one. Then and two, when they sack a coach that got to the final of the Euros to employ you,
better do more than
you are
that.
in and as just to note what Eniola said, I don't even think he has the squad to play that 3-5-2.
I think he does.
Squad. So the squad is very lopsided in front and on the wings. Yeah, they do not have a left back at all. Luisol is out. They don't have a left back. Of their right wing backs, a lot of them are right backs and not necessarily wing backs. And they don't even have centre halves in England. Like Dambon is making his debut at 30 watts. So I don't expect, personally, I don't expect him to switch anymore. I think because looking at how he played, first game he played Bellingham off the 9, double behind him. Then the next game he reverted to playing Rodgers off the 9, Bellingham, then Skelly going in and inverting into the midfield as a. On paper, it ended up being a 3-2-5. So it can pass for his 3-5-2 if you arrange it. So he will just. I want to see what happens when he can have the likes of Gordon and Saka. Maybe he will play Saka as a wing back, except that happens, and you know what's going to happen if he does that. So I think he will stick to that. Calling Rashford back was unfortunately he didn't do too well, but at least he did okay. He did okay.
We'll leave it
He did
for
okay,
now.
but he shows that his intent. I genuinely believe that they needed going back to the Euros. They needed somebody that can run in behind. They never had one. Kane doesn't run in behind. Saka doesn't like to really run in behind. Nobody runs in behind. Everybody wants the ball to fit.
Yeah.
So you want somebody. See Lewis Kelly's goal. It came from him making a run. How many times did we see any English player do that at the Euros? So I'm seeing him trying to fix and giving people like Dan Bond and Lewis Kelly a chance, Morgan Rogers a chance. It's just the issue of Philip Waterfording, but that way, let's see what happens.
Before we go on this quick break, there's just a quick question I want to ask you guys. Should Ronaldo still be leading the line for Portugal? Yes or no?
No.
No. Should Ronaldo still be leading the line for Portugal? Yes or no?
No.
And we are back. I hope you didn't miss us too much. Now, remember that in the first segment, when I started, I referred to the guys that were sitting to my left and to my right as old cargoes. There's a reason why, and that's because we have fresh blood in the studio. And then for the first time ever, which I think deserves a round of applause from me and the other gentleman by my side, we have a female in our midst. So please, let's clap for the female in our midst. Right? So people will not come and accuse us that we are a male-driven agenda show. Please. We are all in for equality here at the Sports Lounge. So to my right, you know how I'm being dubbed as the Formula One god? Actually, that title was given to me by the actual Formula One god. And to my right, I have the actual Formula One god, Emmanuel Williams. How are you doing, bro?
I'm good.
How's this week been for you?
It's been okay.
So you're ready to cook for us, right? Give us some agenda mixed with some technical thoughts.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much. Please, no Red Bull slander today. Thank you. I just needed to point that out. And then to my left, the race engineer herself. Let me just say, she has actually done something with Mercedes, like the Formula One team Mercedes before.
And Honda.
And so you can, that already tells you what she is as a whole. And oh, but how have you been, Chichi? How's everything? And it's good to have you today. Finally.
Thank you.
So, guys, let's just jump straight into it. And then we are starting with one of, some people would say, one of the most controversial moves that Red Bull has made till date. And that is dropping a racer just after 2 Grand Prix. And that is dropping Liam Lawson for Yuki Tsunoda. Chichi, tell me, do you think that move was the right move?
I have many thoughts on that. I mean, everyone knows my Red Bull agenda is up there.
Strong.
Their problems are too many. But to be honest, I don't think that was the best idea. I'm for Yuki having that seat, honestly. But I don't think it's the best idea to drop someone after 2 races. There's literally nothing you're judging it by. what exactly are you judging him by? By Max?
Baba has been rock bottom and drilling for oil now in the past two
So
Grand Prix.
Sergio was
management
for oil
needs
for
to
how
quickly
many
do
years? Please, let's be serious.
Let's not go there.
Let's
please.
be serious. Like, I understand though, like he's not up to par yet, and that's fine. Like, you need a driver to accumulate themselves with the car to actually know what they're doing, but you're not giving them ample time. I'm not a Red Bull fan at all, as in like the team, because I'm not a fan of many of them. But like Homomako is not the best technical director. You do not let a driver go after 2 races. I understand changing them mid-season. Like, I'm not a fan of that either, but it's better than 2 races. He's a rookie.
Okay.
In sense, he is a rookie. And you just
I'd
let him out.
rather keep quiet on this because I have a Liam Lawson agenda, but let's move on from it. So do you agree with what she's saying that Liam should have been given a bit more time and not dropped at this particular point in the season?
I mean, to be fair, to start with, he shouldn't have been
He
given
shouldn't.
the Red Bull seat in
Thank
the
you.
first
In the
place.
first
Because
place.
you had a driver in Yuki who has been at Racing Bulls for what, 3-4 years now? Because you've given him 4 or 5 different teammates to test him to see if he's good enough, and he's beaten each and every one of them, including the same Liam Lawson. However, in the case of Liam Lawson, after the 2 race dropping, not a fan of, because apparently he's never driven on either of those tracks before. And unfortunately for him, Australia, the first race, had rain. You give a rookie his debut season on a track he's never driven before in rain conditions. Well,
No, but
So that
but some
happened.
people would say like they had been given like there was already weather forecast of there was going to be 70% probability of rain.
Yeah.
Right. So he had all the time to probably do
Not
all
really.
the calibration
No,
and all
Not
those
really.
things.
No, because you can only simulate so much in a simulator. You can't compare a simulator to the real thing. Weather conditions throw so many things at you. Yes, you can simulate tire temperatures, but you don't account for, how the wind is going to be. You don't account for, how the track is going to react. Because apparently, I think they just resurfaced it again or something.
Yes,
like that.
they did.
Exactly. That's another factor that can be considered. He's never driven on this before. Yes, you can make a case for maybe Kimi Antonelli. Yes, he's a rookie too. He's never driven on this. However,
Hadja.
Mercedes, Hadja too. But Hadja crashed out.
He crashed. Exactly.
In Kimi's case, however, he has a bit of backing because prior to this season, he's driven thousands, almost 30,000 kilometers
Yep.
with actual cars, with W11, with W13,
Exactly.
and 14. So he's driven 3 different kinds of cars, the best of its class, the worst of its class. He already has a handle of what could possibly happen. And to be honest, Antonelli is probably one of those. He could be one of those special cases.
So basically,
Yeah.
Liam was fired for doing much better than I did when we went.
Yes,
when we went
very
for,
much
when
so.
we went for our
Very much
so.
so.
If I was actually the one in the Red Bull, that means
be
after
fired after one race.
after qualifiers,
Yes,
I'll probably
after qualifiers,
I'll
yes.
probably be gone.
Yes.
Practice
I will
too.
fire you.
Practice too.
personally.
You will fire
I
me
will
personally
fire
after
you.
practice
Yeah.
too.
I will be yours.
So while we were talking about old cargo, I remember the old cargo currently of Formula
Oh
1.
my
That's one that they keep saying, 7-time world champion. Some people's goats, I will refer to him as my Asun, right? While some people refer to him as their goats. That old cargo that is seemingly should be thinking of a retirement home right now. But he is. We all felt he was back, sprint race.
I mean,
and then we
he
saw
was
the
back.
double disqualification.
That's not on
Is
him, though.
Ferrari having another slow start to the season? And yes, by the way, shout out to Tommy. Tommy last week or 2 weeks ago was shouting, "I'm here with Hamilton. I'm here with Hamilton." Okay, where's Hamilton now? But we'll leave it at that for now. But yeah, is Ferrari having like a slow start? What exactly is the challenge with Ferrari at the moment? Is it a technical issue? Is it the driver Hamilton is still getting used to the car? What exactly is it? Is it a leadership issue? What is the issue right now with Ferrari?
I would say Ferrari is just doing Ferrari things and what they've been doing for the past 15, 16 years, where they come into the season with a lot of hype and then it falls apart. At least now it's falling apart much earlier than expected. A good case in point would be 2018. the SF71, at least to me, one of my favorite Grand Prix cars, bar the W10 and W11. The SF71 was the perfect car. It had everything. Tire consistency, good race pace. It was a fantastic qualifying car. And obviously, you have a 4-time world champion in it. And by the summer break, Ferrari were clearly ahead, but then it all just fell apart. They brought the wrong parts. They upgraded the car, and it was a downgrade, and then the car fell behind. Yes, Vettel had his moments, and he fell away, took himself out, crashed out a couple of times, but that's just, and honestly, it wasn't even that was bad, but even the year prior, imagine losing out on a race because of a bad spark plug.
Wow.
Yeah. Now,
There's a narrative.
you could say you can't really call it a narrative anymore if there's a lot of facts and scenarios to back your point, because Ferrari just be doing Ferrari's things. Now, this year in particular, yes, now you have a 7-time world champion in your books. Now, yes, you could say...
Well, go ahead.
better than your current fifth, but let's keep going. You could say maybe he's washed or whatever, but the sprint race shows us that he's not washed because he qualified on
Thank you very
pole.
much.
In a car, he's only driven how many laps on? If you combine all the laps, it's not even up to 100. It's a new car, it's a new team. There are a lot of things to consider, And to be honest, I think he's doing quite well. And to be honest, yes, I will say this is agenda. He's ahead of his, more established teammates. Yes, it's by 1 point, and yes, agenda will be there.
Agenda was agenda.
And if you want to say one more thing, if you want to say old cargo, there's another old cargo on the grid who hasn't even been classified.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much. Call his name.
Please.
Call his name.
He hasn't.
That other old
Call
cargo, we
his
did not have
name.
any expectations for that old cargo. I remember when Hamilton last season, people were saying Ferrari and Hamilton. Please, leave.
Yes, the Spanish.
Leave Alonso out of this.
You said his name. Very good. You crashed out. You were saying, rookies are going to struggle. And on Cairo, was it lap 44, 45?
Let Adrian just breathe some breath of life into us.
Sounds like excuses to me, fam.
You'll soon see the turnaround.
Who says he's going to be there next year? Who says Alonso is going to be there next year?
Do you think so let me ask it this way. Do you think Hamilton would impact, because he says this is a Ferrari thing. So do you think Hamilton will have a positive impact of Ferrari, or do you think Ferrari would Ferrari Hamilton? Let me use it that way.
I think let's put into place that I have a huge bias, of course, with Hamilton. Yes, he's my GOAT. He's the GOAT.
Okay.
Agreed.
Whether you disagree, he is the GOAT.
No, wow.
Fully
Thank
agreed.
you very much. I think he has an impact on people wherever he goes.
Okay.
With or without anything. And I think he will have an impact on them. Now, I'm not sure how long it's going to take for this impact to come into effect.
Excuses. But yeah, go ahead, man.
But I believe he will have an impact. It's showing in little things, the people they hire, the type of people they have in their team. I think they're very much open to his point of view. That's one of the many reasons Elkan also got him on the team, because he has amazing great points of view that they can implement in different things. And I think it's down the line it'll change. Something will happen.
So you're expecting Hamilton to have more of an impact on Ferrari than the other way around?
Expectation, yes.
We have you on record.
Wait, relax.
We have you on
let's
record.
calm
No.
down.
You cannot back out from
no,
this.
No, let's
we
relax.
have please.
No.
Good people of Nigeria, we have it on record. Chichi is saying that Hamilton will have more of an impact on Ferrari than Ferrari on Hamilton.
You said expectation,
Okay.
and I said yes.
Okay.
Now, in real world view, same way theory and practical, no, they always match. Now,
Okay.
there's a huge possibility, right, that
He
and
will be
this
Ferrari.
that it will be a 50-50 thing. I say that because I feel like I hate bringing this up, but let's be honest. Lewis is not. He's still in his prime.
Okay.
But I'm sure things always impact him differently now as they did when he was younger.
Okay.
And I think that it will have an effect. It's obvious in if we come from the disastrous year of 2021. Like, he needed a lot of time to recuperate,
We will not
and he
speak on
did.
such.
But then you now have other years
Not to
of
speak.
of Mercedes having a car that wasn't working best, like a lot of back issues. My boy is an old man. Sad. So all of these things affect him, and I'm sure even there was this video when there's been two videos. There was the one of where he walked, like he drove into the Mercedes garage like by mistake,
Oh,
and
wow.
I feel like those sorts of things, maybe being publicized in the media, would impact some of his
Maybe.
thoughts. But I think it's
So,
a 50-50 split. on
moving
that.
from a mid player to now the supposed top dogs.
A mid player.
Yes,
How
please.
dare you.
Moving from mid player, because where are they right now?
Relax,
Are they not in
relax.
mid table fighting with the middle of the pack?
Relax.
Please, moving from the mid players to the supposed top dogs at the moment, which is McLaren. How do you see this McLaren's dominance, and are we expecting them to do drivers and constructors, or do we think like they will throw away one?
I think they can do both. I genuinely think they can do both because the closest rivals to them was supposed to be Ferrari. And quite frankly, Ferrari's driver lineup is better than McLaren's one, but they don't have, at least at the moment anyway, they don't have the machinery. If Ferrari has started the season like McLaren, it would be a completely different conversation. Red Bull have their problems, like we started the program with. You know, Red Bull for many years have become a singular driver unit where they prioritize one driver and make sure that, look, whatever he wants.
But wouldn't you rather
gets-
prioritize a driver? You have your number one, and
Of
then
course,
you have your number two.
absolutely. But if you create an environment that does not cater to the second driver in any
At
way,
all.
shape, or form, this is what you're going to get. Make swapping drivers after 2 races embarrassing stuff on the management.
is.
Because now, Red Bull as a whole have put themselves in a rather tight position. If Yuki comes into play and actually does well, the question then becomes, why aren't you put him there since?
Okay.
If Yuki fails, it then becomes another question. Why is the car so bad to drive? What's going on here? Why have you made it so impossible for another driver to get acclimatized with your machinery? And even your main driver is already speaking out that the car sucks. Man's is only in 3rd or 4th because Ferrari is incompetent at the moment. And see how the GP started. Both Ferrari drivers jumped him at the start and held out for as long as possible. But obviously, when it all came down to it, and
Max
let's be honest,
Verstappen.
Max Verstappen, yes, I will give him credit. He still came through, made a wonderful pass on Charles. Amazing pass, I'll give him that. But then you now have the DSQ. What does that tell you? Isn't that back all that down to incompetence yet again? You know, the drivers are doing their work. They're trying to make it work. Charles was doing a madness with a broken front wing. Yeah. But then, unfortunately, as time went on, damage began to show. And he was apparently losing 0.6 of a second to Max. It was always going to come eventually. So the drivers are ready. You saw it in the sprint. You saw it in the race itself. Currently, the machinery isn't there. And then you now have the whole incompetent strategy team of making decisions or how the car was built. Apparently, they want to bring a whole new floor to Bahrain. So that's 2 races over in the triple header. They say it may fix the problem, but apparently it could even be a fundamental issue. And if it is a fundamental issue, then you can count the season over because McLaren are clear. Red Bull isn't going to catch them. Oh, who are we kidding here? Max can do all he wants.
But they said from Spain, they are going to do like a clamp down on the flexi wings.
Yes.
So if they clamp down on the flexi wings, don't you think like that would actually reduce McLaren's advantage? Because
Absolutely.
it feels like McLaren has been able to, manipulate the rules. And I hate when this thing happens a lot in F1,
love it.
where everybody just finds this
Loophole.
gray area. And
But
then they
that
just
is
do
what-
like
it's
this.
what- it's
I
all-
love it.
When it's Red Bull, you don't like it.
No,
When it's any other
I
team,
love
you
it with
love
everybody.
But
I
it's
love
as
it
well.
with everybody.
You know where you stand.
It's all honestly, I find it wonderful because it shows how engineers play their part, finding loopholes in certain things.
Yeah.
Yes, I may dislike Red Bull, like Chichi, but when they pull off certain things that are within the rules, and make that clear, you have to marvel at it. I'll use last year as an example. It may be true, it may not be true. When Red Bull started the season in 2024, everyone thought it's game over because they were just as, if not more dominant than McLaren. But what happened in Australia? They had a brake failure, And apparently they ruled out that a certain brake system was outlawed. Couple races later by Spain, Red Bull were nowhere to be found.
There could be other.
There could be other factors,
but-
absolutely.
but-
There could be other factors, but Red Bull didn't
in
really
the
change
spirit of
much.
agenda.
Of course. This is my agenda I'm running right here. Red Bull were nowhere to be found for much of the season up until, was it Brazil? When Lando Norris, yes, bottled his chances. Yes.
You could say
And
there's a
Max,
bit of luck on
of
Max's
course,
side with
but Max,
fantastic driving.
of course, and Max did his job at driving. Yes, he drove, at least he didn't commit acts of terrorism. He did his weather driving performance, and I'll give him plaudits for that fantastic
Please,
drive.
we're all here for haram. So you're saying like, yeah. We're not here for please. What's all this clearance? We're all here for haram.
That's-
So you're saying basically like it shouldn't impact.
I don't
McLaren
think
so
it's
much.
going to impact. It will impact a couple of teams. I think it will impact everybody, but I don't think it's impact them. But
Do you think because I know like on record the technical director for Red Bull, Wache, feels like this would be, if that happens, then there's a chance for a good number of the guys in the chasing pack like Red Bull, because I think he was referring to him his constructor a bit, to actually catch up with McLaren. Do you think that would actually be the case?
9.
I don't think so.
Nine.
Because this passing Grand Prix weekend, the FIA clamped down on something else, and honestly, it didn't really change anything. McLaren was still dominant. They left everybody behind for dust.
All of a sudden, we started hearing reliability.
And we
issues.
started hearing reliability. Yes, there were brake problems for Norris, but he wasn't the only one who had brake problems, because Alonso had the same brake
same
problems,
thing.
and he had to retire. He was the only retiree, by the way. You know. Still not classified in the standings.
A
by the
retired
way.
man. Retired.
He's the only non-classified driver out of 20 drivers.
So
Yeah.
let's because we didn't do this in the beginning of before the season started. But if I were to ask you guys quickly, who do you think would win the drivers' championship this year? Who would you go with?
I'd say Norris, because McLaren would definitely prioritize him.
Not Piastri.
Well, I would say it depends on what happens by mid-season. Who is ahead and by how much?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying Norris.
Yeah.
Do you go with that same sentiment, Norris?
My agenda must agenda.
Okay.
I love Oscar, and I want him to be the driver's
Same.
champion for this one. So I want. I'm putting my.
Oscar
I'm
before
putting all
Norris
my-
would be a madness.
I love
It would be
I
madness.
want Lando to show me what he is. Tell me that he's a butler. That's what I want.
Yeah, Lando can bottle, especially under pressure. We have seen it a couple
Always.
of times. Yeah, even, I mean, you could, and there are examples. Many,
Sochi.
You know, not even Sochi. No,
Yeah,
that was
but
2021.
Sochi.
And that one was just poor communication. I can even forgive him for that. But he nearly bottled the race in Singapore. He was 20-something seconds clear. Nobody
Where
was
he
disturbed
almost
him.
kissed
He literally nearly took himself out of the race.
I
What is
remember-
disturbing
I
you?
remember
What
that
was
race.
there with you.
I
What are you
remember that
doing?
race.
What do you think you're doing?
So by agenda, you think Piastri
Oscar.
would win
Yes.
over. Once again, we have you on record. He
gosh.
said Norris.
Oh my
She
God.
said Piastri. So we'll come back to this. And then finally, before we go, we know from 2026 there's an entirely new generation of cars that are going to be on the playing field.
Yeah.
We have Cadillac that is joining. We have Audi that is joining. You know,
Absolutely.
to make things a bit more interesting.
Spicy.
Can you just give us a summary and maybe probably things to look out for from next season?
Okay, so I get the feeling that Mercedes are probably going to come out with a bang again, because they, for whatever reason, I mean, you saw how happened in 2014. They know how to build engines, strong, reliable engines. So I think Mercedes will come out swinging. I think Ferrari will do well, but they will have reliability problems. Red Bull are going to struggle. I think Audi will start off okay, because they know how to build hybrid engines. They've been doing this for years in World Endurance, so they know what to do when it comes to things like this. I will say, though, there is rumors and there are things going out about the FIA wants to implement a V10 engine
By the way,
policy.
for people who don't know, the FIA is like the governing body for Formula One. But go ahead.
Yeah, scams, by the way. And so they want to implement a V10 engine policy where it's just V10s, no electric hybridization systems and whatnot. Now, these new regulations are supposed to be in place for 5 years, I believe.
Yeah.
But the FIA wants to cut it down to 3 and then puts the V10s to go after. Or they want to scrap this entire thing and make V10s come in. And obviously, it's a short period of time. They want to probably extend this current rule set and make the V10s come into play. And I would say it's a horrible idea. You've been planning this for years. New constructors have joined you because of this new thing. And manufacturers have sunk in millions of dollars to
Yes.
make this work. It's
Yes.
not going to
And
work.
their sponsors.
And their
There are
sponsors
few
too.
sponsors especially.
This
So
not going to work.
any technical thing that we should probably, would the cars be faster or not?
I mean, they say there's going to be an automatic DRS system. I mean, also
active
active aero,
aerodynamics.
God bless you.
Yeah. Excellent
I
judgment.
don't think that's a good idea because we see how bits and pieces of car fly off. And having something active on your car, that responds to certain things. If your front wing breaks, how do you sort that out? How long will it take to change your front wing if it breaks in a pit stop? All these things come into play. Yes, they are removing the critical part, that is the MGUH from it. And you're increasing the battery level and
battery
output.
size
So
and
they're
all
splitting
that,
it
yeah.
50-50. So it's,
50-50,
So that could play a part, and obviously sustainable fuels as well. So all these things become a thing.
Just before we go, one last question. Do you think Hamilton is going to ever win an 8th world title? Just yes or no? Do you
Yes.
think he is? Yes.
I think so, yes.
That's Mr. Big Question.
So you don't have an answer to it?
I'll take that as a yes.
I'll take that as a yes. Thank you. Take that as a yes, 'cause it is a yes.
No problem. And thank you guys for tuning in with us this weekend. And please, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, this is going to be a long weekend thanks to our Muslim brothers. Please do enjoy your long weekend and then see us again, same time next week. Ciao.
Ciao.
Peace.